I am not sure what the city's dam levels are currently, and I'm not going to be able to find that out for a while because the city's website says it's under construction. The information on these pages is not being updated at present. So if you go to dam levels, the most recent they have is from the 3rd of August, which is now 2 weeks ago, and that had our dam levels at 78.6. Almost certainly lower than that now. By how much, I'm not sure. I spoke to one of the technical people, so not a politician, but a technical person, and I was trying to put some pressure on the poor man, perhaps unfairly, because he doesn't have control over who and when and how much water restriction is introduced. But he said that they are starting to have that's what he said, starting to have conversations informally and in between municipalities about how to approach this. And I can't help but thinking that the attitude is too cautious. Yeah, first of all, I cleared up that the city does have the ability to introduce water restrictions. They don't have to wait for the Department of Water and Sanitation. The National Department of Water and Sanitation will sometime in November do an assessment, and then it might tell municipalities in the Western Cape that these are the water restrictions that you must introduce. And municipalities, the metropolitan government, will have no option but to agree. But there's nothing to stop us starting earlier. And let's do it. And if the rains come, then stop them. Surely it's as easy as that. Dr. Peter Johnston is an independent applied climatologist. Hello, Peter.
Hello, John.
Am I being unkind, unfair, unrealistic to expect the city to show, not just through word and occasional please use less water media release, to act with a little more urgency?
It's a very tricky one, that, John, and I'll just give you some background facts that I don't think are apparent, and I don't think they're obvious. The first one is to say is that we already have water restrictions, okay? They've been in
I did mention that on Friday.
And we do have some. The second one is the rainfall this year so far is well above average. It's in the top 10% of rainfall accumulations, sort of in the history of the rainfall we've kept in the dams area, if you like, the Theowaterskloof area. So, in some respects, one must say, well, okay, if we've got, for example, up till now, 127 millimeters more this year than the long-term average, we've almost got as much rainfall as we got last year in the whole year. We're 39 millimeters away from that. So, to be honest, the rainfall this year hasn't been dire. What has been dire is that the months of June, July, and August have been well below normal. So the rainfall has fallen at a different time. We had very extreme rainfall in May, where we got 250%. That's 2.5 times what we expect. So the planners and the people in charge of Cape Town's water may well be confused, because the question is, okay, if we were about the same as we were last year, what does that mean in the long run? Are we going to be able to cope if we have a third year, which is a little bit less than normal or around normal? Are we going to be able to cope? Because we know that demand is increasing. Or do we have to be sort of institutional now and say, no, everybody must now stop using water, which is a pain. Now, water restrictions are punitive. So my suggestion to the city is to say, okay, look at the projections. Even if we get no more rainfall this year, we're still sort of okay-ish, and then decide who the biggest water users are. Where are we going to look at saving water? Is it through wastage? Is it through unnecessary demand? And what is it? Of course, I agree that everyone should be aware that water is a valuable resource, and none of us should be wasting water. So the campaign should be going around, stop wasting water. Whether you're in agriculture, whether you're in a residence or an industrial area, I think that's the most important thing. I do understand, though, that the city does not just want to introduce restrictions because, it's punitive. And then the people who can afford to pay extra for water, for example, then are in a better position. So I think it's a hard decision. I'm really not so sure that the city isn't doing the right thing by just holding on and wait and see.
Okay, well, it's very, very useful to hear that from somebody whose a significant part of whose life is water. I've just been sent by James what appears to be a City of Cape Town official graph saying that the 17th of August, which is today, is it not? Yes, that the dams are at 77.7. So that is a little bit down on the figure of last week, and 12.9% less full than at this time last year. Rainfall remains unpredictable. We, water-wise, keep a limited supply. As one of my producers has just written to me, many of us have lost the water-saving reflex, and it took a long time to activate that in the 2017 near day zero scenario. But you think for the moment they are doing the right thing by holding off?
I think that's the right thing by holding off the restrictions. I still think that they should be doing sort of marketing campaigns saying, look, guys, if you don't want restrictions, let's just choose to save water. And they can show at the end of 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks that our consumption is less or is being reduced and we are wasting less, then I think they've got a good case. But if they see that, look, guys, and I know we can't treat people like idiots or like children, but one can, as a city, one can be responsible and say, well, look, we haven't saved any water this month, so we are going to have to up the water restrictions, but we'd much rather you saved water voluntarily. So please, can you do this? This is the situation we're in. If it doesn't rain by the end of the year, then it puts our dams at X%. It puts our risk at X or Y% of having a drought, because if next year's rainfall is also low, then lo and behold, we're back in not a day zero situation, but a serious drought situation. And then, of course, it's panic stations. And we must always avoid panic stations. But I think the city has a responsibility to looking at equitable distribution of water and trying to say, well, we're not going to punish the middle class again by saying that they can't water their gardens, they can't do this, they can't wash their cars. Let's see if we can control consumption to a point where everyone still has access.
At the moment, for the last week, according to the graph that James sent me, we were using 847 million megalitres of water a day, which is 13 megalitres lower than the limit which has been set for this time, 860. I don't know how realistic it is, whether they should be setting that lower. Okay, Peter, thank you. Thank you very, very
You're
much.
welcome.
Yeah, really appreciate having somebody being non-alarmist about this, because perhaps I've been a little overly alarmist about it. Nice to get a bit of a sort of reality check. Peter is an independent applied climatologist.